Hey, what's up everybody? It's TheHyphenate here, and today I'm going to show you guys what I think is the best custom button layout for your Sony cameras if you're a hybrid shooter, where you're constantly switching back and forth between video and photo. I'm a professional photographer and filmmaker, and I've been using Sony cameras for a while now, and I absolutely love them for both video and photo. But new out the box, the cameras have kind of whack button layouts. The custom buttons don't really have programmed what I want and what I use frequently for video and photo back and forth. And because of that, when I get a new Sony camera, I change the buttons to be what I think fits best for both worlds. So today I'm going to show you guys what settings I programmed to what buttons on a Sony a7 III. Now if you don't have a Sony a7 III, if you have a 6400, a6500, a6000, a7 II, etc., whatever camera you have Sony that's maybe from 2014, 13 and up, for the most part, you can still make it work. You just might not have all the buttons or maybe not all the options available to you. But the core settings that I think are ideal for video and photo are still going to be on your cameras, and you can be able to follow as much as you can along with my layout, and it'll definitely benefit you. So to remap your buttons, you have to go through your menu and you have to go to custom key, and from there you can reprogram each button. C1 I have programmed for focus magnification. Now I find that very useful for both video and photo if I'm doing manual focus or if autofocus is having a little trouble. C2 I have set for focus area. I find that extremely useful for both video and photo. In the photo mode, if I'm trying to get specific focus on something, a specific person in a big crowd, then I can easily switch to getting a pinpoint or getting center focus so I can focus and recompose if I need to. If I'm doing video and I have autofocusing and I have, let's say for example, an interview and I know that the main person that I really want is always on the right side, then I can change my focus area to fit on that person. There are a lot of uses to be able to change your focusing area. I think it's one of the most things that I use for both video and photo consistently. Almost every shot changes. So that is super ideal to have right at your fingertips. C2 is at a good position to easily get to with your index finger. C3 I have set for silent shooting. Now that's only for photos. The Sony a7 III and newer cameras have tremendous silent shooting, and I find that very useful for weddings, quinceañeras, funerals, etc. C4 I have set for monitor brightness. Now that's both beneficial for video and photo, especially if I'm doing shoots where I'm going indoors, outdoors. If I'm switching from video and photo, that's always going to be handy to have monitor brightness at my fingertips. The multi-select center button, which is on the Sony a7 III and newer full frame cameras, is the joystick, not the left, right, up, down on the joystick, but pushing it in. That is a button. Now for that button, I have it set for eye autofocus for photos. Sometimes I'm shooting back and forth from different things, different subjects. I have wide areas, I'm shooting wide, I'm shooting close. Then I have multiple people, sometimes I have a single person. I like to be able to nail focus on the eye of a single person when it comes to that, and I don't want to go through the menu, so having that button right there is super beneficial for photo. For the FN button, I have a variety of settings that I find very useful that I consistently use. Maybe not as much as some of the other ones, but definitely some that I need to be able to change on the go, on the fly, in different environments. Auto white balance. Audio record level, which is extremely important for video. That's how hot the signal's coming into the camera. So your microphone, how much it's picking up the sound. Face priority in autofocus. Peaking display. Zebra display. Metering mode, exposure mode, prioritize record media, which is super useful in case I'm trying to switch between memory cards in slot 1 and slot 2 on the a7 III or the cameras that have 2 memory card slots. Flash mode, APS-C Super 35 shooting. Now that's super useful on full frame cameras because you have the benefit if you're shooting video to be able to go from full frame to crop Super 35, which is a 1.5 times crop, and you don't really lose detail. You're able to shoot in 4K or HD with that mode. So if you're on a prime lens and you want a little bit more reach, you can use that mode, and it's super useful for doing video. Now you can use that for photos also, but it changes your megapixel count and it lowers it drastically. Flash compensation, which is super useful if you're using a flash and it's coming out a little too harsh, a little too bright. You can use that to lower that down. That's for photo only. File format photo. Now that's great to be able to switch from JPEG to RAW and JPEG plus RAW. Sometimes I'm doing shoots where I know I don't care about RAW. I only want JPEGs. And sometimes I want RAW and JPEG. So being able to switch it right there is great. Now let's move on to the control wheel area. There's a button inside of the wheel. That button I have set for center lock on AF. Now this is used for video, and I use it a lot when I'm doing shots with a lot of people and I want to track just one subject to keep in focus. I use this to lock onto one subject, so no matter where that person moves, it's going to track that person and keep them in focus. Now the wheel can spin, and I have that set for shutter speed. Now on the full frame cameras, there's another wheel on the top that stays for shutter speed, but I actually like to have it at the bottom. Now on the wheel, up is for display, that stays like that. Left is for drive mode. You can change that if you want. I actually like having drive mode set there. Right I have for ISO. I like having that there, so I don't really touch up, left, or right. I do change down for monitor viewfinder select. Now something that I really get annoyed with on the cameras is when you get close enough to the viewfinder, it blacks out the LCD and it turns on the viewfinder, thinking that you're trying to look through the viewfinder, and that's very annoying sometimes when I'm trying to put the camera up close to me, or other things where just it tends to get covered and then now the LCD goes out. I hate that, I can't stand that, so I actually have that set to being off in the settings, where it just stays off and it's always on the LCD. The cool thing is that with that bottom button that's reprogrammed now, if you really want to just go to the viewfinder and not the LCD, you press down and it turns off the LCD. Now I've noticed that doesn't really work on the a7 II and cameras of that generation. It just keeps the LCD off and it doesn't turn on the viewfinder. But with the a6300 and cameras from that generation and on, it does work. So I find that very beneficial to never have to worry about that viewfinder going on its own, and I can just use it when I want to by pressing down. I have the AEL button set for focus mode. That's super important if I'm doing different photo shoots and I sometimes don't want the continuous autofocus and I want to select something specifically and know that it's going to stay there, or if I want to set the manual focus quickly. AF on I have set for focus standard. Now with that, if you're doing autofocus and you have any focus area, it doesn't matter if you have wide, you have zone, etc. You press that button and it'll only do the center autofocus. So sometimes I'm shooting wide and something passes by and I know that I want to get that, but there are too many people and I know that the wide is going to just grab onto something else. If I want something specific, then I can use that and just click on that button and it'll focus in the center. So I'll just make sure that I frame whatever I want in focus into that center, and I can either recompose or just shoot as is. That is great for on the fly when you're on different focusing modes and you really just want something quick in the center, and that's what you know you want for one specific shot. Now, a great thing in the Sony a7 III and some of the newer cameras, you do have a My Menu section in the menu where you can select certain features or settings to be your favorites. The second to last menu page, that's all of what your favorites are, and for that I use the following settings. Control with smartphone. Now I find that very beneficial for many different times where I'm shooting by myself, whether I'm doing a self-portrait of myself and I need a control for photo, or if I'm doing a video interview or something where I'm in the camera and I need to frame myself and also either stop and start recording or take a photo. Controlling with your smartphone is actually super awesome, and I actually love to use that. So I use that often. It's great to have it right there, super quick in the My Favorites. I also have file format for video. That's super beneficial to me because I'm always doing different types of events, different types of gigs, and sometimes I want something filmed in 4K, sometimes I want it in high definition. That is great to be able to switch the format very quickly and not have to go through that long menu to get there. I also have record setting where you can adjust the frame rate and the bit rate. Now I normally have the autofocus sensitivity and the autofocus drive speed at high and fast, so that way whenever things are moving it can grab focus quickly. But if some shots are a little bit more cinematic and I want a smoother focus transition, then I can change that quickly. And lastly, I have record media settings. That comes in handy if you have 2 memory card slots and you are either trying to duplicate your footage or trying to make one follow the other. Sometimes different shoots can change what you need the 2 different slots to do. So it's great to be able to make that change quickly. One time I was doing a shoot where I had 2 memory cards being copied to each other. However, one of the memory cards got filled up because it was a smaller one and it wouldn't let me shoot anymore because it needed a second memory card to continue to back up. and duplicate the images. And that ended up being a drag because I couldn't remember where in the menu it was to make that change. So now I have that assigned to my favorites just in case I need to make a quick change and I'm doing a shoot, I need to switch memory cards, or I just need to have one memory card in. Now I don't have to worry about that issue. So I highly recommend making that easily available to you. So there you guys have it. That's my custom button layout. Now again, this is my personal preference as someone who shoots video and photography consistently. You guys don't have to follow my exact layout. You guys can also change it to whatever you guys want, but I find, again, doing video and photo consistently, switching from different environments, different types of shoots, that having all these settings that easily available to me, that it works best and allows me to have a smoother shoot for whatever I'm doing. So I hope that this helps you guys out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to drop a like and a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. I'll be back soon with a lot more videos. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.